Welcome in. It is the Jake Asman Show right here on YouTube. Today, my guest, you know him from his work on SNY covering the New York Jets. He played for the Jets, longtime NFL veteran. He is Douzable, and he joins us here on the show to talk Jets Patriots, thoughts on the Jets post bye week, and so much more. Leger, always great to catch up, my friend. Thanks for being with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, Jake.
Absolutely. So, let's start with you personally. I know it's your first season doing some work full time, of course, with SNY throughout the course of the season. What's it been like hanging out with Bart Scott and company before and after these games?
It's kind of a locker room feel, right? And that's the thing you miss once you leave the game of football, that locker room feel, the brotherhood and friendship that you have in the locker room. And with Willie, Willie was a teammate of mine for 3 years with the Jets. And then Bart coming in, and he was a longtime Jet as well. It's kind of like that locker room feel. And it's funny because we always have our little locker room, which is the dressing room, before we actually go on TV each week on Sunday. So it's been good, man, just getting acclimated to this new full-time broadcasting life. It's something I've been doing even when I was playing. But, this year being with SNY, ESPN, CBS Sports, full-time, it's just been a blessing.
You mentioned Willie Colon, of course. Bart Scott, part of that show. I mean, I can only imagine what gets said during some of these games, man. I mean, TV's TV, but I would pay just to watch the games with you guys because I have to imagine it's a lot of fun.
Oh man, it's fun. Like, all three of us are kind of like characters, right? So watching the game, it's like I said, it's locker room feel, man. And like I said, I won't say a lot of the stuff that we say while we're watching the game, but it's just a good time. And it's just great to have two other guys that played a long time. Both guys played over double digits years, just like myself in the NFL, and just the knowledge we're able to bounce off each other's head and just the chemistry we have on camera. It was kind of automatic from day one, but we're going to continue to get better and better and try to bring the best show possible and also take you guys into the locker room and onto the playing field each Sunday as we do pre and post game.
Leger, let's talk about this Jets team. They're coming off the bye week with just a very difficult loss in London against the Atlanta Falcons. So the record's 1-4, could easily be a little better had certain things gone their way through the first 5 games of the year. What's your take on just where the Jets are at right now entering this game on Sunday against the Patriots?
Yeah, and I know Zach Wilson tweeted or Instagram that he wished that the bye hadn't happened this early and that there was no bye, but I think the bye happened at a perfect time for the Jets. If you look at it, the constant has been the offense not starting fast in games and being behind the 8 ball and having to try to catch up week in and week out. So the thing about an early bye, week 6 bye, is that you get to self-scout yourself and figure out, what do we need to do better? How can we jumpstart this offense that way? For one, our defense is strung out there. In the Atlanta game, I believe, had 33 snaps in the first quarter. And if you look at the trajectory, that's almost 120 plays a game. Coming off a game versus Tennessee Titans where the defense played over 100 snaps, and you can kind of see that the defense seemed like their legs were a little bit heavy there. The defensive line didn't play as well as it had played in the first 5 weeks. They had been dominant at times in the first 5 weeks. And you saw John Franklin Myers' legs were heavy. There was one time he beats the tackle easily, runs into the running back, and his legs just gave out on him and he fell. And the guys is not playing as well with their hands on the defensive line. And I think it's because their legs were heavy. Even C.J. Mosley, and we know he has the hamstring issue. We'll see if he'll be able to go this week. But the first couple of weeks when he was blitzing, he was coming off the edge, coming up the A-gap, bringing that heat. And it seems like in the Atlanta game, he was a step slower. And I think that's in part because the defense has been out there for so many snaps in the first half of games. So I think it was the perfect time for the offense to figure out what they need to do as far as starting the game a lot faster and how to get Zach Wilson going a lot faster in these games too, because you don't want to be playing behind the 8 ball, especially for the rookie quarterback. Now, since week 1, I know people were concerned about the offensive line and protection, but I felt like they've played really well as far as protecting Zach Wilson. There was a telling stat to me, Jake, and I think it was before the Atlanta game. Zach Wilson led the league in sacks with over 4.5 seconds in the pocket, which to me is 4.5 seconds in the pocket is a lifetime. So that lets you know that sometimes the rookie quarterback isn't processing things quick enough, or he's not letting the ball go when he needs to let the ball go. But either way, the offensive line is played really well. And I don't believe they even gave up a sack last week, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe one. So they've played really well. They've shut it down. They got to get that run game going, right? That's the best friend for a rookie quarterback. You have to run the ball. The bright side is the last time they played a New England team, they ran for over 150 yards on the ground. So this is a team that they know that it can run the ball against. And I felt like as far as the physicality between the line of scrimmage, the Jets won that battle the first time versus the New England Patriots. It was just the 4 interceptions. You can't win a football game when you turn the ball over that many times. Adversity, the defense has probably been the biggest surprise on this team. They haven't just been adequate. They've played really at a high level besides last week versus the Atlanta Falcons. The one thing that I want the defense to try to rectify is situational football, knowing what teams want to do to you in certain situations. The game versus Tennessee, right? 2nd and long, 3rd and long. Your ears have to perk up. You have to realize screen and draw are big calls, right? They gave up way too many screens versus Tennessee Titans. So what Atlanta did the next week, they ran a few screens, but what they did to mitigate that is that they know that the defensive line is an attacking defensive line. So they're going to run trap, which is a form of draw, to slow that defense down. And they had some success running the trap play. So you have to realize you got to still play aggressive, but if you're a defensive line, you got to kind of pump your brakes and realize on 2nd and 3rd and long, well, especially 2nd and long, they're trying to get back on track. They don't want to be in 3rd and long. So what do you do there? You either run the football, you run draw, you run screens to slow your defensive line down. So those are some of the things I want the defense to work on in this back 12 games of the season, just understanding situational football. And perfect example of that is 3rd and 13. Game on the line, I believe the Jets were in cover 2. Bryce Hall, this guy has way too much width right there in cover 2, right? In cover 2, you're playing short to deep, but you get a little bit more depth because you're playing the sticks on 3rd and 13. Well, as a kid, you have to squeeze to your man there because you have to play the sticks. At that point, the Jets were only down by 3. You want to hold them to a long field goal attempt or try to knock them out of field goal range. But, too much cushion. I think that hurt with the safety depth, everybody being hurt. Adrian Colbert was hurt. Marcus May was hurt. So I believe it was Wilson that was to the side of Bryce Hall right there. And both of those guys were just too soft in coverage. And that was an easy pitch and catch, especially for a guy like Matt Ryan who knows where to go with the football. A quick slant should never go for 13, 14 yards in a first down. So it's just understanding situational football and realizing at pivotal points in the games what teams are trying to do to you and how do you mitigate those.
Leger Douzable is our guest. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe by clicking the subscribe button on the right-hand side of your screen. Leger, specifically with Zach Wilson, because, of course, this year for many Jet fans is, you want to win games, but you want to see this young kid develop, get some experience. What have you liked from Zach through the first 5 games of the season? And what obviously would you like to see him continue to improve on throughout the remainder of the season?
Yeah, we all knew this was going to be a process, and it's all about developing this young offense, not just Zach Wilson, but more specifically Zach Wilson. And the thing with this offense in this Mike LaFleur system, this is a timing-based offense. So you have the word trust. I know it gets thrown around a lot, Jake, and people don't like that word, but this offense is really based off trust. Trust that the quarterback is going to let the ball go when his back foot hits. Trust that the receiver is going to run the route at the right depth, is going to turn the right direction, and also that he's going to catch the football. And the receiver has a trust that the quarterback is going to let the ball go. And we saw versus the Titans, we saw the progress in Zach Wilson. His lone pick was really Corey Davis' fault. He's coming on the in-breaking route and he slips and falls. But I love that Zach Wilson let the ball go. Now, I felt like versus the Atlanta Falcons, for some whatever odd reason, he kind of regressed in that aspect as far as letting the ball go. The interception that he threw when he's throwing to Keelan, I think Keelan Cole on a deep out route, he let that ball go late, and in the NFL, the man travels faster than the ball. So if you're late on out routes, most likely it's going to be either 1, a PBU, 2, an interception, or 3, worse, an interception, pick 6. And Zach Wilson has to learn that, especially throwing those out routes in this offense, that you have to let that ball go when that back foot comes before the guy's coming out of his break. Because if you're late with that, it's a potential pick 6. So that's something I want to see him really progress. And we know what he can do with his arm strength and the off-platform throws. So to me, that was never a question for Zach Wilson. We know the arm talent he has. The thing is, can he make the easy and pivotal throws with the game on the line, or the routine throws when he just needs to make them, when it's 2nd and 8, when there's a quick out route, let the ball go. When there's a dig route, letting the ball go in between zone coverage. Can he do that on a routine basis? That way the offense can flourish. We know what he can do with the off-platform and everything. And we know, the backyard football plays, that's in his bag. We know he has that, and we know the arm talent. But can you make those easy, pivotal throws when you need to move the chains, to keep the chains moving, and to give your team a chance to win?
I've spent a lot of time on my show talking about this stat I'm going to put on the screen right here, Leger. The Jets have been outscored in the first half of games 75 to
It's
13.
ridiculous.
It's just hard to believe. I mean, as someone who obviously played and you've been around a bunch of different offenses, one, can you remember a team struggling the way the Jets have in the first half of these games? And then two, what do you think Robert Saleh and Mike LaFleur, what do you think the coaching staff was working on during this bye week to try and solve that problem?
Yeah, Coach Saleh's already come out and said he's tweaking some things at practice, and having played for him in 2017, I can see him doing maybe a up tempo period, and I think that would benefit this offense to try to jumpstart it. Now, you can't do up tempo unless you get a first down, so you have to get a first down to get your up tempo going, to get in rhythm. So I know there's things that they've worked on as far as going up tempo with his offense, and also being more creative maybe in the run game. I've been saying this for the longest. I feel like jet sweep should be ran at least 2 or 3 times, because with the zone look, the jet sweep off of it buys the eyes of the safety and the linebackers. And to me, that's an easy 5 or 6 yards down. I've ran 1 or 2 to Braxton Berrios, but I think Elijah Moore should be getting some of those. That's exactly what he did at Ole Miss. Get him some end arounds, get him in space, run some more bunch sets, right? We don't have the biggest, tallest receivers. So if Corey Davis, Crowder, and Elijah Moore out there, put them in the stack, run some shallow crosses, get some easy throws for this kid, and then get him some RPOs, man. Like, run the zone off of that, and if the DB's 5-6 yards, just throw it out there quick to the receiver on a quick hitch route. Get a cheap forward. That's an extension of the run game. So I think those are some of the things they've worked on. Some things I think he also has worked on. Usually they practice in their pads on Thursday. I can see him maybe moving that to Wednesday. That way they're more fresh for the game on Sundays. Some coaches like to be, pads on Thursday because it's 3 or 4 days from the game they played on Sunday. But I can see as the season wears on, him maybe, taking the pads on Wednesday and maybe taking them off after the inside run. Just that way guys are just more fresh on Sunday when they play the game. So those are some of the things the offense can do, to jumpstart this. And it's really going to, like I said, it comes down to the run game. They have to run the ball effectively. And when you have a rookie quarterback, running the ball effectively helps with the bootleg, right? It helps with the play action pass. That's going to help Zach Wilson. He can make some easy and comfortable throws if you're able to run the ball effectively.
You mentioned 2 names that I want to hit on. You mentioned Elijah Moore, and then, of course, Denzel Mims. Now, Moore, we saw him all summer making a bunch of plays in training camp. There were a lot of big-time expectations for him. Mims, yeah. Jeff Van saw last year in a lost season make a bunch of plays, and he can't seem to get any consistent playing time. What can be done to get maybe both those guys more involved in this offense post-bye week?
Yeah, honestly, it should be a 4-man rotation with Cole coming in. I think Mims is a guy that's the one receiver that's different from all the rest of the receivers. If you talk about a guy that's 6'3", 215 pounds, can stretch the field, runs a sub 4.3 40. Like, there was a guy that I played with, Marquise Goodwin, in San Francisco in 2017. He was kind of like Mims too. Didn't have the stature of Mims, but as far as the speed, wasn't like the perfect route runner. But defenses were scared of his speed, and that opens up the underneath routes and the run game, because you have to respect that speed. If you take 2 or 3 shots down the field, even if you don't complete them, but a safety almost gets beat, he's like, oh, this guy on the field, we got to be alert for a guy taking a shot down the field. Kind of like the Robbie Anderson rule when he was playing with the Jets. Then that opens up your offense so much more. That opens up Elijah Moore. That opens up Jamison Crowder underneath. What Corey Davis did at Tennessee was be the possession receiver, and that opens the game up for him. And then because you have to, allocate a guy in the back end to respect that speed from Mims, it opens up your run game. So, yeah, I know in this offense there's been talks about, LaFleur wanting guys that, are perfect route runners, but we had Marquise Goodwin, and he went for almost 1,000 yards for the first time in this season in that offense with Kyle Shanahan, because he was able to scare defenses. And 1 or 2 times a game, he would catch a deep pass for 40 or 50 yards, which would obviously help, him getting 100 yards for that game and helping them getting close to 1,000 yards. But that's the same way they should use Denzel Mims. And we've seen it time and time again. The Carolina Panthers game, he gets on for one play, 40-plus yard catch. I believe last week versus the Atlanta Falcons, I think he had like a 20-something yard dig route, pitch and catch. So this is a guy that has, explosive tools, a big guy. And then in the red zone, this is a guy you could target in the red zone. Like, you don't think that'll help your rookie quarterback, a guy that's 6'3", you can throw the ball up to on jump balls, 50-50 jump balls, fade routes in the red zone. So they have to figure out, and I believe they will figure out a way to get Mims the ball more the second half of the season. It seems like his his play has upticked as far as the reps he's gotten the last few weeks. I look for that to continue and also for them to get Elijah Moore going too.
You look at this Jets matchup now as we change gears, Lejay. Let's talk about Jets at the Patriots on Sunday. This is not the Tom Brady-led Patriots. The Patriots
No.
this year, I mean, they're 0-4 at home, so I think a lot of Jet fans are like, oh, well, this is an automatic loss because we're going to New England and we never win there. But this is not the same old Patriots that the Jet fan is used to seeing. This is a team that is obviously in transition with a rookie quarterback. What are some keys for the Jets? If they do this, they have a legitimate chance to win on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll go back to something Rex was saying, and I understand the Patriots are 0-4, but just always remember this. When you go into New England, you're down 7-0. I'll just put that out there. You're already down 7-0. But keys to this game, right? If you look at what Dallas Cowboys had success with last week. Now, the thing about Bill Belichick, and let me sidebar real quick, is that the thing that you saw in week 2 versus New England, you're not going to see on defense in week 6 or 7 this week versus the New England Patriots, because he is the master of switching things up total. Now, the Jets have success running the football, and this zone scheme is built to run against a 3-4 defense, which New England Patriots are, because they got those big 3 guys up front on the defensive line. They don't like to move laterally. They don't like to move east and west. So I would not be surprised to see Bill Belichick switch it up and go 4-3 with an overhang linebacker like Jamie Collins in the game. So you have to be prepared for that, but you have to run that zone scheme effectively against them, because Dallas had so much success. And you know what they did off of that, Jake? The bootleg. The bootlegs killed New England last week. Even for the game-winning touchdown to CeeDee Lamb, that was ran off a bootleg, and that's because Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott had so much success in the zone scheme and the duo scheme, which is pretty much, 2 doubles and the tackles blocking the ends one-on-one, and the running back just finding a hole and getting downhill. So I see Mike LaFleur implementing some of that. Also, attacking the seams on this New England defense. When Jawan Bentley's in the game, you have to go at him in the passing game. Now, he's a great run defender, but he's been suspect in pass coverage. And another thing that is the defense has been susceptible to is running backs out of the backfield catching the football. And, that's what New England does, but they've also struggled on defense when a running back has been able to come out of the backfield and the quarterback has found them. So Zach Wilson has to understand the first game they won a lot of man. They bracketed Corey Davis because they know that you like to go to him. So you have to realize that Corey Davis is probably going to get double teamed this game. You have to find your other receivers. But when they go zone, you got to make them pay, right? You got to attack those seams. You also have to find your running back out of the backfield. Michael Carter and Ty Johnson are going to be big this game coming out of the backfield. When they go man coverage on 2nd and long and 3rd and long, stay away from J.C. Jackson. Like, this is not a prideful thing. Like, Dak Prescott tried him 4 times. You know what happened? 4 PBUs. This guy's playing at an elite level right now, so you need to figure out where he is at all the times on 2nd and 3rd and long, because this guy's playing at a different level right now. He's the one guy in that secondary for New England that can truly hurt you. Adversity, the defense. This is a team that wants to run the ball, New England. I'm talking about the Jets defense. They want to run the ball. So coming into this game, you have to stop the run. It's going to be on this defensive line to stop the run. And they're not going to throw the ball down the field. Like, besides that one play to Kendrick Bourne right before overtime where the safety played it terribly on Dallas, I believe that was the biggest catch and run for New England this whole season. They hit, I believe, Nelson Aguilar on a skinny post for like 20, 24 yards. But they routinely don't throw the ball down the field. Like, none of these receivers scale you. Jacoby Myers is a good possession receiver on 2nd and 3rd and down. If he's in the slot, your ears have to perk up, because that's where Matt Jones is going with the football. He loves that connection with him. He trusts Jacoby Myers over every other receiver. But also, the ball going to the back out of the backfield. That is what Mac Jones does. He wants to be in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, because he knows he doesn't have to hold on to the ball. So if you're a defensive line, you have to earn a right to pass rush. And they were able to get after Mac Jones, and John Franklin Myers, I believe, even had a sack fumble on Mac Jones in week 2. And it was because it was 2nd and long and 3rd and long. So you have to earn the right to pass rush against the New England Patriots. Means you have to stop the run on 1st down and 2nd down. And so alert the backside of the backfield, and then alert a lot of crossing routes. Mac Jones does a really good job finding receivers in zone coverage. So if I'm Jeff Albrecht, I'm going a little bit man coverage on 1st and 3rd down, but on 2nd down, I'm going a little bit more zone coverage just to switch things up. So those are the keys to me, right? You have to stop the run on defense, and also find the running backs out of the backfield, because Mac Jones likes to target them because he's not really pushing the ball down the field, and you have to get after him on 3rd and long. If you get him in 3rd and 8, the defensive line has to come alive and get after this quarterback.
Zach Wilson in week 2. I mean, he threw 4 interceptions. It reminded every Jet fan of the Sam Darnold seeing ghost game against the Patriots in 2019. Do you think he's able to just to flush that out of his memory? It's not like it's back-to-back weeks. That's back in week 2. The Jets had a bye. Do you think Zach Wilson will have the ability to not let what happened the last time he saw the Patriots affect him in this game on Sunday?
Yeah, I think he'll flush it because of it happened. I want to say so long ago. It was like 4 weeks ago, but he also went and played a Denver team that held him to a shutout, and then was able to bounce back in the Tennessee game. So I think he'll be able to flush this. The thing is, he just has to learn from his mistakes, right? You have to realize, one, like I said, stay away from J.C. Jackson on 2nd and 3rd and long, and then 2, it's all right to punt the football. Like, you have to realize that, and I know he's a competitive kid. No, he has the arm strength, but this is the NFL, right? And you can't make every single throw. We know the type of talent you have, but it's not a prideful thing. Like, sometimes you have to just lean on your defense. Sometimes the defense is out-scheme the offense, and you have to punt the football away. And sometimes that's all right. That's a win sometimes in the NFL. Like, the defense just has your number. Don't force the ball. Do not be late with the ball. And then there's no reason to try their best defensive player on teams. You've seen it time and times again this year when Trayvon Diggs from the Dallas Cowboys, like, I don't get it. Like, why would you try that guy in certain situations? We saw last week versus New England Patriots, right? On a quick slant route, he kind of throws the ball too far inside for Kendrick Bourne. Trayvon Diggs not only catches it, he takes it to the house. Like, this guy's going to make you pay, and J.C. Jackson has that same type of ability. Like, Dak Prescott is having an MVP-type year. Went at him 4 times, 4 pass breakups. So, like, certain situations, just realize this is the one guy that could hurt me. I need to know where he's at. I'm not just saying you stay away from him the whole game, but in pivotal downs, stay away from him. There's no need. There's a guy, Jalen Mills, on the other side that you can attack, and Dallas had a lot of success with.
As we wrap up here, you got any Jets-Patriots stories from your time with the Jets? Anything that stands out in the times you went up against Bill Belichick and company?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few stories. We can go back to 2013, the Thursday night game in week 2, where when my guy Willie Colon of the Brickashaw ended up getting thrown out in that monsoon game. I think we lost that game at the last second because, we ended up missing a field goal by my guy Nick Folk. Earlier in that game, I sacked Tom Brady, and then there was a play. I don't know what happened, but he was talking crazy. So I put my finger like in his face, but I didn't touch him, right? So he trips over one of his old offensive linemen and act like I pushed him down. And I'm like, come on, bro. Now you the soccer, you're selling like you're a soccer player. Like, get up, man. As they would say in Friday, it ain't even wet over there. Like, get up. What are you doing? But yeah, that rivalry, and I actually was talking about this earlier on the Jets podcast, that rivalry kind of has lost its luster just because Tom Brady isn't here anymore and Rex Ryan isn't here anymore. But like that was a game that was always featured, because you knew it was going to be a physical dogfight, no matter what the record was for the Jets. Like, that was the one team we could not stand. Like, we hated losing, period. But losing to the Patriots, you just felt that the whole week because they always felt like they owned us, and a lot of times they did. I believe Tom Brady won the division, I don't know how many years in a row. I don't even want to say it. But that was always like a physical, tough fight week in and week out versus the Patriots every time. And most of my career here, we split it. We split that, those 2 games with them 1-1 every time, I would say, except for the 2014 year where I believe they won both times. But every other year I was here, we split that game because it was such a hard-fought game. And I think it's lost its luster just because, TB12 isn't there anymore. He's in Tampa Bay. But I actually was talking to Ty Johnson about that, and I interviewed him this week, and I was like, yeah, this is a big game versus the Patriots, but it feels like it's not the same how it used to be as far as like an all-out war. And you got to understand, it's not the same Jets team. It's not the same Patriots team. So now these guys will be able to kind of forge their own little rivalry with, this younger group of Patriots and younger group of Jets. And either way, it's a big division game. Anytime you play a division opponent, you want to win because that's the easiest way to potentially get to the playoffs. So you want to win your division game. So this is a big game this week for the Jets.
Leger, as we wrap up here, I got a question from one of our great viewers here on YouTube. Okay. I think you'll like this one. Jake, can you ask Leger why Bart Scott is always angry after games during the post-game show?
Man, I don't, Bart is Bart. So I'll ask him why he always angry. But me and Willie give him a hard time, man. We were like, man, positive vibes over here. he's like grumpy old man. Bart's like grumpy old man over there because he is the eldest statement, on the stage. So I don't know why he's always grumpy, man. But hopefully the Jets get a dub this week. and Bart won't be so angry.
There you go. Simple as that. Get a win, and then boom. Maybe we'll get happy Bart Scott in the post game. Leger, this was a ton of fun, man. Always appreciate when you join me. Been a blast watching you kind of rise up in media here. I mean, you're everywhere these days. You mentioned it at the top, CBS, calling some games, SNY. So thanks so much for a couple of minutes here, man, and enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see what the Jets can do against the Patriots on Sunday.
Appreciate it, Jake. Thanks for having me on again.
He's Leger Douzable. My name is Jake Asman. This is the Jake Asman Show for a Thursday. Please subscribe if you're new. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you once again tomorrow. See ya.